That's only half of the people. There's a huge population out there that want to get retooled. They're worried they're going to lose their jobs with the unemployment and so forth. And with all this free stuff up there, there's actually a declaration that knowledge should be free. There's a Declaration of Open Education that you can sign, unlike the Declaration of Independence. There are 2 signers from the U.S. that went to Cape Town 2 years ago to sign. Do you know who the signers were? Not Paul Resta. I thought it would be Paul. Jimmy Wales, who dropped out of my university to create Wikipedia, and someone from Texas, Richard Beranek from Rice University, who created Connections, which I'm going to come back to and talk about. So someone from Texas was one of the first 30 signers of this declaration that education should be open and free. Now, Richard Beranek went to grad school with me at Wisconsin, and we never met because he was in computer science. I was in education. I'll come back to him. This morning, there's an announcement about peer-to-peer university. George was reading me the Twitter reads this morning. This is a free university that will help you find your way through online courses. They provide mentors and guides, no college credit. They're expanding their courses, and George, they were putting on what courses? Some writing courses and some behavioral psychology courses.
Some theory courses on education.
The theory of education courses, okay. Now this person here is the former chairman of Cramster. His name is Shai Reshef. He put $1 million of his money to build the University of the People, a free university. So the University of the People started last year with 180 students and 800 instructors. 5 instructors for every student. Imagine if you signed up for the University of Texas and you had 5 instructors for every one of your classes. Now imagine if every one of your classes were free. That's what we have here. Now, not totally free. There's an entry fee of about $30, $40, $50, depending on what country you're from. And there's an assessment fee if you want to get credit for your courses, a small $30, $40, $50 assessment. But he wants to be fully accredited. That's the goal. Number 5 is open object repositories and portals. Free stuff on the web. And now I'm not talking about Cliff Notes and Spark Notes. I'm talking about higher quality contents like Link Television, National Geographic specials on the web, all free. I'm talking about the Starlink system in Dallas, where I just did a little show down in Dallas on best practices of teaching online. They put up free for a network of colleges. I'm talking about TV Lesson. I got a phone call from Mongolia a couple months ago. A student said, I'm applying to your program, Dr. Bonk, and we got the swine flu epidemic here right now. And she was working in educational television. She says, we're using TV Lesson to send lessons to kids in the remote parts of Mongolia. Have you seen this? I said, no, I haven't seen it. So I'm learning something new from someone applying to my program, right? You can go to TV Lesson. You can go to Academic Earth. If you don't like your instructors here in Austin, Academic Earth has the best instructors around the world. And you'll find out your Austin instructors are bad. Academic Earth's a cool website. It's like a portal of the best instructors of the world. You can go to Fora TV and see Michelle Ray, who's transforming Washington, D.C. schools. You can watch Malcolm Gladwell talk about his book, Tipping Point or Blink, or Thomas Friedman talk about his World is Flat book at Fora TV. All these free, shared, online video. Last fall, I started using short video clips in my classes from YouTube, TeacherTube, Link TV, 2-minute, 3-minute, 4-minute. B.F. Skinner in psychology, Wundt and Pavlov and so forth. My students at the end of the semester didn't want to leave, and I couldn't figure out why. The videos created community because they could see the researcher in action. We could read the book, we could have our discussions, they could get the lectures. It was seeing that real person that brought the course to come to life, even though it's just talking heads. It was like bizarre. So I've been studying the use of YouTube videos in class. How many of you have been to YouTube? How many have been to YouTube EDU? How many have been to TeacherTube? How many have been to CNN and NBC on the web? Right? All these free shared online videos. We have to find ways to use them. When we've got fishermen in Antarctica pulling up colossal squids, the world's largest intact colossal squid, and putting it on ice, and it takes researchers in Wellington, New Zealand, 16 months to figure out how to thaw it out, And then National Geographic and Discovery News come to showcase live on the web the thawing out process, and they find out it has eyeballs the size of soccer balls. These are just the lenses of the eyes. It had eyeballs the size of soccer balls. It had claws that can kill whales. It had a translucent body. Kids in schools are finding out about colossal squids, and then this guy found a gigantic squid off the coast of Santa Cruz 2 months later. And live it goes into schools. Science doesn't have to wait 4 years to get into a book with these portals of content. We might say, Dr. Resta's class, you might say it's portals of stuff. It's not really learner-centered. It's not active. It's not engaging. But it's important, you see. Very important stuff. When I was coming back from Korea in May, I'm going through the Indianapolis airport, and I bought this book called The Link. In fact, today in the Houston airport, they had this book on display. In the Houston Museum of Natural Science, I saw this book last night. And the same day I bought the book, the research on the article, on the specimen came out. It came out in a free journal from the Public Library of Science. Now, the Public Library of Science is creating a whole bunch of free journals in genetics, chemistry, physics, because they're worried about the price of journals. So when you publish, you pay a fee to publish, but it's free to the readers. So the research comes out the same day that the book comes out, the same day that Sir David Attenborough has a video explaining the book, the same day the researcher creates a portal on the web that explains this missing link. When all this comes out the same day, and students in college, students in K-12 find out about it the same day as scientists, times have changed. When we find out that Charles Darwin was so productive because he had a laptop computer, times have changed. His website went live on his 200-year anniversary of his birth, right? 150-year anniversary of origin of the species. Had he had a laptop on the Beagle, he might have been killed because he kept his work hidden for years until others had similar theories. He was worried about, the same thing that happened to Galileo and others before him. All his work is now available free from Cambridge. Even love letters to his wife and what he wanted for dinner and so forth. Fascinating website. Portals of stuff, but important portals. Whether we're talking about Samuel Pepys. Now, Samuel Pepys had a laptop in 1660. We just discovered this thing. My friend Phil Guilford, who's a web designer, some of you want to be web designers, in his spare time, he's taking Samuel Pepys' daily diaries and putting them on the web 1 day at a time in a blog. 1 day at a time, interactive blog with hyperlinks between his blog posts, with links to Google Maps and Wikipedia. So and by the way, Samuel Pepys had kind of an interesting life with a lot of fraternizing with women and drinking and all whatever they did in the 1660s, right? He was an admiral in the British Navy later on. His boss reported to the king, so he's a pretty important guy. He knew a lot of people. But you find out more about Samuel Pepys than even Samuel Pepys knew about himself, you see, from the web. The web shows the interconnectedness of life. And you find out about early modern Europe in new ways. You find out about the Great Plague and the Great Fires from someone who was there. You can find out about Charles Dickens and Mary Shelley, who wrote Frankenstein, and Ed Tennyson, Browning, and so forth, from Duke University and the Carlisle letters. Duke, with Edinburgh University, has put up all the letters from Thomas and Jane Carlyle from the 1800s and hyperlinked them together. And I read Charles Dickens' stuff, and it's fascinating. Now, I'm not an English literature person at all, but this is a really, really interesting website. It's all free for anybody to use. In the past, publishers would sell us this stuff. It's no longer sellable. See, that's part of what's going on. And now when we've got the Royal Society saying, we got to jump in. 10 years ago they said that they're sharing stuff and we're not going to share. Well, last month or 2 months ago, the Royal Society said, we're going to share all of Isaac Newton's work. We're going to share Captain Cook's work. We're going to share Benjamin Franklin's work on the web. I'm not sure what he has here, if that's a digital camera. The others have computers, but anyhow, they're sharing all this stuff on the web. When we have Science Live, when we have a person who had a lobotomy or had part of his brain removed in the 1950s, who had epilepsy, who died last year, who donated his brain to science, and in December they dissected his brain live on the web. There's broadcast surgeries from UCLA, so people are learning about surgery live on the web.